Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Meta, and on this chart we had quite some downside today, so I wanted to explore with you the possibilities, the opportunities that are now presenting themselves for further continuation to the upside, because this chart is still extremely bullish. I would have to break like three scenarios to actually turn three very distinct and large scenarios to actually turn bearish on this chart. But yeah, for now I will present the larger time frame quickly before we head into the shorter time frame. And here on this initial large movement to the upside, I am tracking an initial wave 1 up, which is in a 5-wave structure in a leading diagonal. But yeah, it doesn't really matter that it is in a leading diagonal. The idea is that we have bottomed here in a wave 2 and that we are tracking a third wave, a very large wave 3 that would develop to the upside. Now I won't be giving you targets for such a wave 3 because yeah, it would be very extended, and I do expect even further extensions if this really ends up being a wave 3 to the upside. And yeah, it might take actual decades to reach such a level. Now within this wave 3 to the upside, I do expect to form an initial wave 1 up, yeah, a 5-wave structure that would present itself in a wave 1 before we have a correction, probably not too deep of a correction, in a wave 2, and then a very large third wave that would follow to the upside. That would be the most interesting wave to be actually a part of. But for now, I don't believe we have topped within a wave 1, and I am still tracking quite further extensions. Yeah, they are still possible within this push to the upside, within this 5-wave structure that we will be tracking in this area. And the count that I am tracking within this initial wave 1 to the upside would be starting with a series of 1-2 setups in this area. Then this could be an initial third wave that we have formed internally, and I will even add a count for this idea, and I will be using, let's say, the white interpretation for for tracking this scenario. And in this case I would be looking for a correction here in a wave 4 in the area between the $619 level all the way down to the $468 level at the 50% retracement. Now this may be more or less, I did draw this by eye, I didn't really use the magnetic tool, but you get the idea. We are looking to find support in a correction in a wave 4 in this area, and as long as we stay above the 50% retracement, we can still look for continuation to the upside in a 5th wave. Now in this interpretation, I would consider that here we had a wave 1, an internal wave 2 here, an internal wave 3 here, 4th and the 5th, and in that case I can add it to a smaller degree. And yeah, in this case we have not yet reached the support zone, and we may still be looking for further continuation to the downside in this wave 4. Now keep in mind, these don't need to go too deep. Yeah, oftentimes they don't. Remember what happened on the Apple chart. But yeah, it is likely that they will at least reach one of the levels of support if this interpretation really is playing out. And yeah, we still have not done such a thing yet. Now, I do have another interpretation that would allow further direct extensions to the upside. And I first want to point out that within this internal wave 3 that we have here to the upside, I am tracking this as a 1, 2, 3, 4th and a 5th. And if you notice, this 5th wave was actually quite extended. It was within an ending diagonal to the upside, but it was quite seriously extended, and I would not be surprised for such a pattern to unfold here as well, where I could be tracking a 1-2 setup here instead of a complete wave 5 to the upside. Now in that case, we can be tracking a completely separate scenario, and I would like to do this within the yellow interpretation, where in this 5th wave to the upside I would actually expect to find the strongest wave still, where the third wave is usually the strongest and the most impulsive wave. And in that case, I would be looking for an entry in this area of support for a wave 2 that I would be tracking between, let's see the levels. Yeah, the $656 level all the way down to the $535 level. At this point, we seem to have already reached the first level of support, and we did get a reaction, which is a good sign. Yeah, it is a very good sign for this interpretation. But I do have to warn you, since we did manage to create such a strong wave 1 to the upside, it would have quite large implications. It would expect quite heavy extensions within this follow-up wave 3 especially. But since we managed to create such a pattern in this area that we are able to consider it a full fifth wave to the upside, it is not guaranteed that even if we do get, let's say, do the 50% retracement and push higher, it is not guaranteed that we will get a follow-up fourth and the fifth in this area, because it could really still be the white scenario playing out, yeah, having a more shallow retracement. Now, with that said, at the moment, we are even able to actually consider a full count in this area. And I would be able to say that this is an ABC pattern that has developed, and in that case, we could consider it complete or nearly complete. I do actually prefer another low even within this interpretation to the downside. Now, if we really end up playing within the white scenario, and yeah, even within this scenario really, there is still a risk that this could be a series of 1-2 setups that have formed, and now we could be either directly in a third wave to the downside that could follow through in, yeah, quite a strong fashion, or this could end up being an additional 1-2. Now, within the white scenario, that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but that is a risk I wanted to point out. But for now, we are going to focus mostly here on the shorter time frame for only one additional low, where I would consider this a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth that I would be tracking. And let's zoom in really for this. And yeah, within this wave 4, we do already have 3 waves up, so technically it could be complete, and I would generally be watching out for resistance in such a wave 4 in the area between the $674 level all the way down to, all the way up to the $701 level. Now, as you may notice, we do also have an overshoot here to the downside. I could count this as an ABC, but I believe it is more likely that wave 1 bottom here. We had an ABC pattern, and then this is the third wave bottom, an ABC within the wave 4, which could be complete at this point. And now we could be looking for an additional low in the fifth wave to the downside. At this point, I am also able, however, to consider a possible 1-2-1-2 setup, but keep in mind this is a full possible correction and we could still find lower prices, but this is on the very small time frame, so I wouldn't focus too much on this, and I am not guaranteeing that we will get another low. From a larger time frame perspective, remember, we did reach the area of support within this wave 2 correction, and we did fulfill the minimum expectations basically, because we did also complete this pattern in a 3-wave structure. And yeah, for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.